want a sandwich. Now. Oh, sandwich wench. Yo, wench. Sandwich. Now. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. I'm going to need a sandwich. A sandwich. A sandwich. Oh, sandwich wench. I want a sandwich. Sandwich. Hello everyone, welcome to another political recap stream here on the Moisky Live channel. Joining me to discuss stuff that some of you might be lucky enough to see on Rumble on playback. Follow us there, we have 7 followers, 2 of them are us. And on Spotify, we have 216 followers there now. It's TrupsLP, I heard that. TrupsLP, say hello Trups.
Hello Trups, sorry, that was funny.
I'm glad you appreciate that. It's like having your mother follow you on Facebook, isn't it? Oh, yay.
It is a bit.
It boosts my numbers. How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm all right. You know, it's God, it has been so goddamn hot.
Humidity here has been kicking up, but it's a bit different here. It's been raining most of this week, and so today it's been a little bit muggy. But it really hasn't been a summer here.
Yes, can't relate. We have had such summer here.
I'm very sorry that's the case.
Oh, it's all right. We could live. We can live
that's all right then. That's all right then. What's Trups been up to anyway beyond the heat?
So, well, I mean, from a gaming standpoint, I've actually started playing games again. Now that all of my other responsibilities have kind of calmed down, I get to do things for myself again.
It's about damn time, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of having time to myself.
Yeah, I can relate. I have a whole cabin because of it.
Yes, but so I've been playing like Nier Automata, which is a wonderful game, actually. Yeah. Like compelling story, and I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you are. I've been playing on the Switch and on my old Game Boys, basically. I find I need that. So I work on the computer a lot, as you I think you do anyway. But whenever after about 2.5 hours of working on a video, I go for a walk. I normally then take a 10-minute break and I just sit and play a video game for a bit, or read a bit of a book, play a bit of one of my guitars. Do that. I find that I need that, or I burn. I've worked out how to deal with burnout, basically.
Okay.
And you need that really, otherwise you end up becoming a stress head dickhead. Oh, thank you, Trups, by the way. I see that. I literally just got an overlay alert. That's nice.
Yes, I thought you might like it.
Oh, thank you very much. But yeah, I'm glad that you're able to do more for yourself because you've been a very busy bee with responsibilities of late.
Yes, quite. I'm. It's that it's good to have things to make you busy, but you need to have that time eventually to
You need to know that something a respite will be. You need to know it's there.
Yes. You can't just forever perpetually be
like
going at 200. No, that's a terrible.
Feels like a prisoner. And you don't want a prison. You don't want that. That's for prisoners, not for you. Does that make sense?
Indeed, not prisoner.
Yeah. I meant prison, and I misspoke.
That's all right. But what about you? What have you been up to?
Well, so most of my family have gone on holiday. So myself, my older sister, and her daughter, we've been just sort of chilling out, and I've been working on videos, trying to finish the month strong. So next month when I go to Norwich, I'll have a bit of spending money to play with, so I can go to the whiskey shop, basically. Yes. I have acquired some more stuff for my cabin, more solar stuff. I've also started piecing together because I want to go to some cons in the future in the UK. I had inspiration to acquire some pieces for a Assassin's Creed style costume. That'd be kind of cool.
Okay.
I managed to get a tomahawk.
I was gonna say, are you telling me that you were going to cosplay?
I haven't done it in a long time, but yeah, I'd like
Oh
to.
my god, I'm so excited.
I managed to get my hands on a Connor Kenway tomahawk from a site real cheap, and it arrived
Very
today,
nice.
and it's really nice. But naturally, it's blunt, which is a shame. But it's metal
Of
and
course.
decent handle, feathers. It looks great. I haven't cosplayed in maybe a decade.
Well, I can very much appreciate people who, I look,
Course.
the cosplay thing is sometimes it can be a flight of fancy for people,
For me, it was
but
something I did
others.
after uni and stuff. I really enjoyed it, but when I lost my job and had to leave Norwich, I had to go down. I had to stop,
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
And then
it is
YouTube took
expensive.
over when I
Obviously.
got into that and all that as well. But yeah, I've been working on some video stuff, and I'm also sorting out a trade-in. I traded in a guitar that I don't play, but I'm trading it for a guitar I would play. And they have it. They've had it since Tuesday. The guitar they meant to inspect, and I'm still waiting for them to send me the other one or approve it. And I'm getting a bit annoyed.
Tuesday, innit?
I want to be a Karen, you know.
Oh, okay.
I got an email here from you saying you sent me a copy of a game as well. Okay, I'll have a look at
Yeah.
that. I'll look at that over the weekend. I'll accept it in a minute and I'll go over that.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of
Yeah,
the video
so-
stuff, tidying the house up and nearly burning my face off doing a bonfire this afternoon that I was halfway through a Twitch stream with my sister, cocked it up. But that was funny.
Yeah. Always a good time to almost burn down your house.
To be honest, well, it's not that. It's right near my cabin.
I
So,
see.
I'd rather-
We must protect the cabin.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I've spent so much effort now
wood
redoing doing all the treatments and everything now, and all the solar stuff I've got going on. So I don't mind. As many of you in the chat will know, if you were on Twitch earlier, my sister was doing a bonfire, but it was quite big and it got a bit out of control. So her daughter came to me and I knocked on the door, asked for help. I came downstairs calmly, dealt with it, immediately stepped in dog crap in my brand new trainers. Yay. But I dealt with the fire, dealt with the trainers, and came back and carried on my stream, which was fine. But my face was bloody hot. I thought I'd burnt my beard. I was so worried. I was constantly fiddling with it to see if I was okay,
Yes, I do. I know the feeling.
and Liliana Vess and Avison are cool. We're okay with them. Yeah, Magic the Gathering.
Cool. Nice.
Well, Blood Elves. I had a Blood Elf character, mage, called Belasarus, because I was original with a name for that one. I have no idea where it came from.
Yes, quite. I definitely actually don't, and I'm saying things as if I know anything about that.
I stopped playing WoW a
go
long
me.
time ago, so it's fine.
I haven't. I played WoW for like a brief stint.
I played for like a year, and now I got so fucking bored, honestly, because I was the only one questing. Everyone else went straight to raids and cheated to get to level 80. I was like, this is dull.
Yes.
You all suck. Right, you come question me, it's fun.
Yes, quite. And by the way, to shill his additional or his future Twitch streams, the game that I just gifted him to those in the chat who may know of it, it's called Dredge.
Oh, God.
It is a fishing game with Lovecraftian elements to it.
Now we're talking. I had a whale under. I was in a really small boat during the week, a really small wooden boat, and I went over a rather large humpback whale, and its silhouette was so big, and I was like, that thing is going to take me to the drink.
Cool.
I was terrified. I was terrified. And we could talk about this forever, but we obviously need to.
Yes. So we
talk about
need
other
to
things.
actually start. We've been going at this for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yes. So I've noticed this week a few discussions of late of interest to me, and one was Hunter Biden.
Yes, of course.
He's just always popping up. There's a plea deal here. What the hell's going on?
Yes. Well, to start things off, Hunter had been a subject of investigation. I know this is a shocking revelation because we thought for the longest time that nothing was ever going to happen to Hunter.
Yeah.
Alas, here we are. So Hunter this court case has to do with IRS tax filings that he failed to do, as well as some oopsie daisies. And I say oopsie daisies with the utmost, like, this is actually a very serious thing.
You
Don't
silly goose. They're not oopsie daisies. No, they're just minor accidents.
Not telling the or on your gun application, not writing that you had previously used illicit drugs and been addicted to those drugs.
Are you talking about Hunter Biden, or are you talking about Prince Harry?
Sure, why not? Both,
he did drugs, and he did declare it.
But no, in this case, it is Hunter. I know, a shock to everybody. Hunter does drugs and
the bad guy.
So that plus, I think there was another charge that I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, so they had worked out a plea deal, because of course they did, right? The defense attorneys for Hunter Biden had worked out a plea deal with the DOJ, the prosecution, who were basically going to allow him to not skirt the issue, but basically get away with a slap on the wrist, basically. What the judge found out in reading over the resolution, essentially the deal, was that in his deferment for basically do something else so that we don't send you to prison, it included a condition where Hunter would not be prosecuted for any additional federal crimes, like, period.
Yeah. Okay.
The judge saw that and was like, so how's that work? Like, that doesn't sound kosher at all. The defense attorneys were like, no, it's perfectly fine. The prosecution was looking at it like, wait, what? That wasn't...
Is that fine,
was that what we agreed with?
This does
so the
reek
judge basically said no.
This reminds me of... I saw some tweets from Colin Rugg, who was talking about on Twitter about Bankman, Freed Bankman, that guy.
Yeah, I know that.
And he was talking about how... if you donate that much to Democrats, you can do whatever you want. That's what he tweeted, and it's because what was it? The DOJ dropped charges for Sam. They dropped the charges.
Really?
Of illegal,
no fucking way.
Charges of illegal campaign finance activity.
I didn't even know they had dropped those charges. That's insane, because that guy was such a fuck.
Right, so I'll link it to you. It's actually in our server. It's the one that says...
is it?
It's above the Farage bank account thing.
Yes.
And it leads to an article. And I'm just like, well then. But yeah, it's interesting because there's this level... It comes across... And this ties in, I guess. It comes across as a level of favoritism that I don't think looks good on anyone, does it?
Well, no, of course not. But, I mean... Is anyone surprised? Like genuinely? If you want to look at a big picture thing, let's take Democrats out of it, right? But if you mean to tell me that somebody who donates to a politician is going to get special treatment from that politician, I mean, I'll put on the best shocked face I can.
Yeah.
But there's no shock going on there. Like, it does not surprise me that they would get preferential treatment. Now, to the level that they get preferential treatment is where the issue comes up, I think. Right. In this case, yes, I genuinely, I get the, I 100% agree with Colin. When you donate that much to Democrats, you can do whatever you want. I 100% agree that is what that tells me.
Agreed.
Nightmares. But in regards to the Hunter situation, the judge basically said, well, no, we can't do that because it would cause a constitutional issue.
I mean, it causes a whole number of issues, if you think, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely it does.
And by the way, I knew nothing of this until I saw one article in passing. It was just a complete fluke that I even saw the Hunter Biden stuff, because it seems to not be here anyway as very interesting, which is strange because there was also an article, CNN here, it says the White House says there's no possibility Biden would pardon his own son. Bullshit. He'll pardon him if he has the chance. He'll do it. We're on the way out anyway.
I cannot believe for a second that somebody with presidential power would not try and pardon their own son.
Can he do it? It
just sounds. I mean,
on the way out, he could.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine that he wouldn't. Is what I meant to say. Like, if I had the power in the world to save my son, yes, I would do it. So I mean, I can't imagine that a person who is objectively, opinionated, I think corrupt, wouldn't try and save his son through whatever means. I mean, he's been doing that all his life.
Mm-hmm.
Even some documents that came out of an FBI informant about the Burisma thing. I mean, Burisma's board basically said, "Don't worry, Hunter's got this." When it came to Victor Shokin, the prosecutor that Biden totally didn't quid pro quo to get arrested or fired, whichever. This is just par for the course when it comes to the Biden family, right?
Yeah.
And I think that watching the media do what they do and do their normal spin, especially on the Hunter situation, talking about what about him registering as a foreign agent? Oh, well, that's not part of this indictment. Oh, well, it would have been scrubbed from the record if I didn't say anything. Awkward silences. Everyone looks really uncomfortable. Okay, well, we'll fix that. Yeah, you damn well better. So the plea deal that they originally had at this point is gone. It's on hold, according to the news.
That's a very strange, it sounds like it comes across as weighing up options to decide whether or not that is the best path forward. Or, the idea that it's being put on hold is because other people have noticed and gone, nah.
I think it's more that one, in my opinion.
I thought I'd speculate just to put it out there so we cover our bases,
Oh, yeah, totally. Definitely. I think it's more because people have noticed, and of course there's now, a bunch of people were prepared to watch the plea deal where Hunter was going to basically say, plead guilty, get a deferred sentence, have to do some community work, and then it was all going to be hunky-dory.
Yeah.
But suddenly the judge, does their job and reads through the settlement and goes, well, hold on, this is wrong. Like, objectively, we cannot do this. And so with that aspect to it, I'm super glad that we accidentally discovered that the defense was essentially trying to do this. Now, that agreement had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Which means the DOJ had to have agreed, probably, in some way, and then play dumb in front of the judge.
They played dumb quite convincingly to get it this far.
Yes. Well, not only playing dumb, but outright lying at times.
So are they allowed to do that?
No. No.
They're not like the FBI where they can sort of skirt answering questions.
Well, I mean, they can. It's one of those things where you have to choose your battle and your battleground. In front of the judge is not the battleground.
Just to address something in the chat. Wasn't the Hunter Biden laptop thing kept hush-hush during Biden's presidential running? Yes, it was. But I think didn't Trump know about it already, though, and wasn't he already hammering people for it?
A lot of people were. Giuliani was.
It's just because of the greater
Sobek.
good, people were willing to ignore it. I don't mean obviously those
Yeah.
people you mentioned. I mean those who wanted desperately to remove Trump from office because
Mhm.
they failed to do it through legal means, which was hilarious because it wasn't legal
Oh
in the
yes,
first place.
100%. The day of the plea agreement, or I think it was actually the day before.
Yeah.
There was a call that had come in from somebody claiming to be the GOP representatives.
Right.
There was a document submitted by the House GOP as an amicus curiae, is a friend of the court thing, basically saying that we encourage you, the court, to do X thing because we have a vested interest in this court case, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they filed that briefing, and in it included a lot of information that was hella damaging to Hunter Biden's image. So somebody calls the court, like the next morning, and claiming to be a representative of the GOP legal team, asks to retract that document. It was
Oh.
not. It was not the GOP legal team. Apparently, it was the defense team. So, in the outright lying aspect, that's pretty fucking bold.
It's an impressive one. I'll give you that.
I think it's a bit stupid as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Bit tragic.
Well, they are certainly that.
So that handily reminds me of something else while we got Biden on the topic. We have for months, years now, said Joe Biden should not be president because he is not capable of it. He should be in a care home enjoying his retirement years, right?
Yes.
On Twitch the other day, I had seen a video doing its rounds of Mitch McConnell having what looked like an absent seizure.
Yes.
He just suddenly froze for about a minute before someone asked him if he wanted to continue, and he was sort of shuttled away because no one knew how to respond. Some had actually said, and I'm not joking, they wished it was something more serious because they wanted him gone. And I was like, motherfucker, that's a level of intolerance. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, unless, okay, there are some exceptions, by all means, be the person that does it. But there aren't many
by and large, though.
There aren't any current politicians I would ever wish that kind of ill on. I really won't. Because none of them, to me, are worthy of that level of hate. I'm too old for that. I don't care. But I do think it raised, yet again, that argument of not necessarily, maybe term limits, but also an age limit. Because
so I do agree with that sentiment, and
you said so before. I remember.
I think it should go across the aisle, not just with presidents, Senate in particular. Even people in the in like federal office, so like appointed positions, even they need to like have a timeout.
Some occupations intentionally have an age limit for when you must retire. Because you cannot fulfill your duties, like doctors. It used to be compulsory at 65 at latest. Some in my country can retire much younger because of GP practices and you earn a lot of money, or private doctors they can, and that's caused a disparity. But in politics, I think, especially your system, which is vastly different to mine, I'm starting to lean in favour of term limits. The Senate there should be anyway, though, because they're 6-year terms.
Yes.
I don't think you should do so many terms that you're basically only kept there because you're a safe seat placemat. I don't think you should, because that doesn't mean you're a good politician. It just means you're unable to let go of the thing that keeps you there, and that is what you believe to be the power of it. And I think you can be a career politician. You really can. You can be a career politician in the House, and you can in the Senate, but I don't know if you should be. And after watching what happened to him, I'm sat here, and you seen it with Nadler, is it Jerry Nadler? Yeah,
Yes.
he can barely walk. That fat little imp can barely walk. Okay, have you seen him? He sort of wobbles from
Oh
shuffles.
yes, of
His
course.
his spine doesn't work properly. Okay, it shifts from side to side in a very odd manner. Okay, and I feel really bad for these idiots because they really do need to let go. Because I know this is all their life is, but all their life is personal interests to make gain for themselves because they think it makes them look, gives them more power and control, makes them look better. But actually, no, it tells me you just can't let go of something that is no longer in your hands. And I think, go on.
That, and also I think also I think they worry about the future. If you want to think about it like a generational thing, there are very few generations out there that have a positive view of the younger generation.
Yeah.
And in that aspect, I think that what you would see from somebody like not Nadler per se, but like somebody like Mitch McConnell, who is so old that you may not trust whomever Republican may come after you, and you may be concerned about the future of the party in, kind of speaking in almost communist terms, if you were to give up your seat.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys have that too, though.
We do. We do. The thing is, I think, and much like UK, although our higher house is not elected, I do think there should be a limit. We're the longest serving politician in House of Commons in the UK. They're made the father or the mother of the House. The longest serving politician is that, and they're usually really old. That's just procedural. But I do think politicians must go through especially when they're older, a very rigorous cognitive test to ensure that they can actually serve without anyone in the room, to make sure that they can answer straight up, not politics questions, but make sure they can prove their brain functions. Like, what's it? Is it compos mentis? Is that how you say it?
I don't know, but I won't.
Someone in the chat will undoubtedly correct me, but it's that thing of making sure the mind, the faculties are all there. And at the age that many of these politicians are at, I'm sat here looking at your system and I'm thinking, some of these guys aren't. And they're compromised. You have to retire because it's like the guy who got elected that had a...
Fetterman.
Didn't he have a stroke or something, or brain damage?
Yeah. John Fetterman.
I'm sorry, but you were only elected just to hold a seat. You weren't elected to do anything because you won't be able to. It'll be your team doing it.
Yes, correct.
And I'm not going to downplay who he is because I'm sure he'll do some great work somewhere. But I'm looking at it and I think, no, actually, I think this has to be more rigorous than this.
Well, okay. Even if the person, having the purposes of a cognitive test for people in their older years, does not come from a place of I'm judging you or I think less of you. In fact, usually we think very highly of you. Mm-hmm. It's a wisdom that you have, but the body is not meant to live this long.
Not just that. The body isn't meant to endure what it is going through in the sense of the stresses for any prolonged period. And it shouldn't, even younger people, and this is something I'm working on a video actually on, called lazy girl jobs, where people are walking away from the higher stress occupations, because equality, in favor of jobs that do not make them feel as stressed, so they can just make enough to get by, because apparently we're in late stage capitalism at the moment. And I
have seen that.
Yeah, that cracked me up. But the point is, it's that personal choice. Some people will actually understand what that power and that stress is at a younger age and are going, no, I don't want that. I will go and do this instead because it's easier on me. These people, though, have been involved in this. Like I mentioned, Biden. He was in the Senate for 30 years. Mitch
40,
McConnell's
I
been
think.
there. Yeah, Mitch McConnell's been there for as long. Think of all those
Mm-hmm.
that have served for as long as they have, right? Whether they be in the House or the Senate, which is impressive if you've been in the House that long, considering it's 2-year terms.
True.
But it's just insane to think that you've been there so long. And I mean, a great example, actually, to show you the level of power and corruption. And people might not like me mentioning this, but since he's been proven not guilty, now I can, and I will be doing a video on it. Kevin Spacey's House of Cards. It did a fantastic job of, while a little bit exaggerated, showing you why some people stay when they shouldn't. Because the level of corruption of politics and the nature of it in America, especially, and UK is no different, but it's a different. We angle it a little bit differently, okay? But because obviously our system isn't built the same way as yours is. Ours is older, and we do it. It's a monarchy democracy thing, constitutional democracy. That's it with the monarchy thing. But House of Cards does a fantastic job of showing why people refuse to let go of power because of what it does to them. And power does corrupt; it always has done. There's no one who can't be corrupted by it. I mean, if you've ever made a load of money from your job, and you suddenly had the urge to blow it all, yeah, that then inspires you to make more money. Some people will find a way to cut corners in the future, and if they can get away with it, they'll do it again and again and again. Because money, power, corruption. It's a very simple version of it.
I mean, I understand the idea. A great example, actually, that we have right now is Dianne Feinstein. Recently,
I've heard that name.
they had to do a vote on a Defense Authorization Act or a Defense Authorization Bill recently, and when everyone was doing roll, she started when it came to her name, she started like kind of talking about the bill. And you see the people around her, the handlers, going, just say I. And then she gets it after a while and goes, oh, I. And a lot of people are looking at that and going, hold on. That's not good. That they didn't realize what portion of their job they were currently occupying, and they needed somebody to tell them what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
A, it doesn't sound like somebody's actually voting for themselves. Okay. And then B, it sounds like that person does not know where they are. So they are also a person who needs to, find their way out.
I tend to agree.
But yes, absolutely. The biggest issues with some of these older folks is, again, it's not that they haven't or they can't do good things for their communities. It's that they may not be able to put that thought into action. Yeah. And it could be because of their own faculties. Which is just a shame, but it be that way sometimes.
No, I agree. And Ragamuffin in the chat there says absolute power corrupts absolutely. Leona, you mentioned walking away from healthcare because walking away from stress, 100%. But thankfully, you didn't get a lazy girl job, as it is now dubbed. You got a proper job, doing proper things. I think
I like your southern accent.
Thank you. Well, oddly enough, that accent translates to a number of regions in the UK, not just the southwest.
Sorry.
It's tragic. Somebody mentions MCAs, mental capacity assessments. So I to go back to something you mentioned about whether or not that would then be considered possibly a little bit patronising to those who are older. I think it should be a standard that should just be introduced, and people should know that is there to protect them. Because
no, absolutely,
it's not just about protecting the job, the integrity of the job. By the way, it's also about protecting the person who fulfills the job. I don't think for a second Biden would pass it. I don't think for a second Mitch McConnell would pass it. I don't think for a second Feta something.
Yeah, Fetterman.
Thank you. I don't think he'd pass it either. I don't think Nadler would pass it. I think Pelosi might, because she's strange. She's a lizard. But I think
she's a lizard.
Honestly, look at her. But I don't. There are a number of people I don't think that active politicians that would pass it, and I think they're old enough that they should be put through that. And I think that's a fair thing to do because once you hit 65, fam, you don't want to be doing this shit. But if you're willingly doing it, there's something afoot here, and it's shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. Well, even if you didn't want to cut it at 65, even if you wanted to cut it at, I don't know, fucking 70, like it's better, and like that would be your hard cut, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would apply this all the way down, even beyond like just government entities, judges too.
Yeah.
And that would cause so many differences in opinion if that became a thing.
I'm okay with it because I think that kind of discourse and discussion is needed.
I tend to agree with the possibility of doing it with judges is you can have a judge who, let's say, has sat on that bench from the point where he was 35. He could be like 70 still sitting on that same bench.
Really?
Oh yeah. There are people who are constantly, because this comes down to a local election kind of thing, usually with district judges or like county judges.
Yeah.
They can, as long as they keep getting elected to that seat, they continue to do their thing. There's also a very good argument to say that many of the reasons why younger generations may feel as if they are being snubbed from the workforce may also be because people are retiring a lot later.
That's a point. Yeah, people do like it. A lot of people do like to work, and I get that. Many different employment sectors. I've noticed from people I've been speaking to here of late, a lot of the younger people, the men especially, they want to work. They're working multiple jobs because they would rather work and do things knowing they're accomplishing something. But when I've spoken to equal-aged females, many of them are of the opinion, nah, I don't really give a shit about this. I just want to, when I can stop, I will stop and I won't go back to work. It's interesting to see the generational shift because my generation were the ones that were complaining about equality from their bedrooms, complaining about wanting to make sure these opportunities were there, and now the opportunities are there. People are like, "No, I'm going to sit in front of a camera and act like an NPC for bits."
Oh my god! Don't you? I will. I
made a video on Monday on the main channel. I pounced on that. That was so funny. If they're making $2,000 a stream, fam. I mean,
man, no, I get it.
But no,
it's a hustle. But oh my god, it hurts my soul.
I watched, and there's some, right. So the video when I did a video on the NPC streamers, some were getting 35,000 viewers, and they were streaming for a few hours, and they'd make someone making $2,000 plus an hour doing this, and I'm like, that is some commitment to do that, right? But in the video, I started with the worst possible, like the lowest quality, all the way up to what I consider the best. The best ones were, like, the worst one was a bloke, because men ones look horrendous. They look like predators. But the girls, they look like they've gone down that sort of kawaii kind of thing, like Belle Delphine territory. Yeah. Looking a bit like that. Yeah. Without the really sloppy blowjobs. And it just, they're getting so much donation, and I'm just like, man, I mean, I got integrity, but give me some.
It reminds me of like, not Demolition Man, but like, did you see Gamer?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember the scene where like his wife is gone in, and it's like a Sims world.
Yeah.
And okay, that is what I kind of imagine we're gonna go towards eventually. Because all I'm going to see eventually is these people are going to do this in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a difference between like being online and being in real life, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
But even you and we've seen the internet leak into real life.
So that's actually a really good point. But I do think there is something that saves many people on TikTok from that happening in their real life, and that is that. Now I'll quote Keemstar on this one. You could have 1 million followers on TikTok and no one knows who you are, and they certainly don't care. You're a nobody because you're from TikTok. It's like Ninja doing the Fortnite dance on New Year's Eve. It just it's not pop. It doesn't translate. No one gives a shit because people go to TikTok now. If they do what I do, they sit in bed and look at dog videos and cat videos because it's funny, and then scroll past every bloody seller because they piss me off.
Oh my god, the ads is ridiculous right now.
There are people selling bags of sweets, kilo bags, and I'm like, that's cool, but it's all jelly sweets, man. I'm 37. I don't eat jelly sweets anymore. The honey stream has my interest because I'm like, I like honey, but I'm not going to buy it because fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off.
I'll go buy my own, thank you. I'm a snob, but not that kind.
Oh, I was going to say, no, really?
Yeah, right? I'm a whiskey snob only.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, so I just, the age limit thing I think is quite important because I think it's becoming more apparent that something perhaps should exist to protect them and prevent them from doing something really stupid. For years, people were worried that Trump was going to pull the trigger, push the button, send nukes, start a war. All wars happened under Biden.
All of them.
Just
all of the wars have erupted in Biden.
Like, motherfucker, just stop trying to pretend you're the party of peace. You're the party of pieces.
Well, it's the difference between. It's not even. People will use the word neocon, but it's not. It's actually old. It's old Republicans. The same war hawks who sent us to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
The establishment on both sides are completely okay with, going into war. And no one seems to find that at all an issue.
Yeah.
But Trump didn't do that. He wasn't establishment. He was a New York Democrat with an attitude problem. And he didn't want to play ball with establishment. That's not how Trump rolls. He wanted to do things his way. Thus, he got, a lot of flack. Some of it warranted, some of it not, for the way that he acted. Basically, just people didn't like him for not playing ball, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the war thing. I mean, did you see that? Niger. They had a military coup because
announced by a soldier.
Yeah. The head of the presidential police had locked up the president in his mansion and wasn't letting him out. And just today, he announced that he has now taken control of the country. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's not that. Okay, I would not have expected that.
I didn't even know Niger was a country until then. But I'm glad it's just got one G in it.
Yeah, true.
Oh dear.
There was a really funny video that I saw where some either streamer or TikToker on a live, right, was watching a pageant, and the model from Montenegro comes out.
Yeah.
And the woman goes, "Ooh, I don't like that name. Do they know? Like when they named it, did they know how offensive that could be?" And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that country is 1,800 years old.
Some people are remarkably
that country has been around longer than back when civilizations were forming.
There were some countries that there are a number of countries that existed then, but not the way they do now. Empires rise and fall, right?
Yes, and of course, Montenegro was also one of those too. Like, there was actually a kingdom.
Yeah, there was.
But they saw that they were like, I don't think, and Mali and all that,
Empires
and Chad.
Yeah, of course, I like Chad.
Yeah, Chad's cool. But no, I mean, genuinely, these people, like, they're perpetually offended. Oh, and actually, it's a bit of a segue, but or a bit of a tangent, but you'll like this. There is a guy I work with whose brother married into a family in London.
Right.
And he lives there now.
Nice.
And they were the lady who he's married to was trying to convince him that now when people ask him where he's from, that he should respond with London, thus making the rest of the family super upset because he's like, but he's not from there. He's from other states. You can't just change where you're from. And this is a guy who gets perpetually offended by everything. Like, he was at a bar, and apparently Kanye West was playing.
Oh, no.
And in like, their family group chat, they were like, isn't that a bit insensitive to be playing Kanye West?
No, his music, art separate the art from the artist.
It's like, no, who the fuck? And also, it was like in like a sports group chat, like while like the family was like watching sports together. Yeah. It's like, oh my god, you are so insufferable.
I'm enjoying this. There is one subject I'd like to talk about before we conclude today, if that's okay with you, Trups. But I have to lead with a question that is a bit loaded, but it will lead to another question. Does a business have the right to refuse service or revoke a service they provide to you?
Usually, yeah.
Okay. Does that extend to banks?
Are they publicly funded?
We're going to say yes and no. So we have two answers then.
So to the yes, no, because you're funded by taxpayer dollars.
Right.
I mean, there would have to be extenuating circumstances, like beyond, just I don't like you.
Right. Okay. So then,
and then no, because I mean, if it's a private bank, then they still have the rights to operate a private business.
Now, I've often held the belief that banks should be somewhat above some aspects. And I'll provide the context. Nigel Farage. In early July, he was informed by a private bank called Coutts, Coutts. If I mispronounced that, I don't give a shit. His account had been closed, but he was not given a reason initially. The BBC then published a report that said it was closed because he no longer met the wealth threshold for Coutts, right? Citing a source familiar with the matter. By the way, illegally obtained. Yes. However, Nigel Farage obtained a report from the bank, which indicated his political views were also considered. Now, this has caused a bit of a storm in the UK. Many politicians have said, no, you shouldn't do that. The thing is, removing someone's ability to fund how they operate isn't something totally unfamiliar to us. Think of all the creators or platforms that lost funding because of their beliefs. Think about PayPal's terms of service. PayPal are horrendous for this. As are MasterCard or something. They have these ridiculous terms of service that ban many different types of employment from using their service. But the bank in question considered his political views as a reason to shut his account down. Not because of his wealth, because he has plenty of money. So what do you think, now you have that context, do you think that perhaps the bank is in the wrong because they've used politics as a reason to shut him down?
Again, if it's a private bank, I understand your position, and I do respect.
Oh, I'm trying not to give a position on purpose. I'm trying to just state I'm trying to lead.
Just the idea that a bank should be maybe above the criteria for normal, operating private thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is like,
it feels like a slightly
we,
grey area, doesn't it? Slightly grey.
a bit. If you are a person who has an account with a bank, and that bank is private, there's usually, I don't know if there's a terms. It's been so long since I've opened a bank account. I'm sure there's
Yeah,
terms
same. I don't know what it is.
I'm sure there's terms and agreements, but if on that terms there includes a specification that you can be shut down because of your political ideology, never go to that bank.
So this might be where the issue is, because that was never known and up to that point. And I think that is why the grey area exists, because of a lack of transparency in making it clear that what they dubbed here xenophobic and racist, and also him being a reputational risk because of having him as a client, even though, to be honest, Nigel Farage is not as controversial as he once was. He holds sway, he does his own thing on whatever network he does it on, but he's not in the news, but he is now. And it's not because of his politics, it's because someone has decided his politics are unworthy. The funny thing here is, this has led to a fallout, because Coots, which is owned by NatWest. NatWest is owned by, I believe, the Royal Bank of Scotland. I think it was at one point, RBS, I think it was owned by the taxpayer at one point, because we had to bail RBS out because of not Fred West, but is some dickhead who worked for RBS who expanded, bought NatWest, and then caused a massive economic crash, basically. But NatWest, they're, what was it, Peter Flavel is his name. Flavel. He is the boss of Coots. But I think he has resigned. But then so's the boss of NatWest, Dame Alison Rose. Like their profits have gone up, by the way. So it's not a huge bad. But hang on, NatWest. Here we go. This makes it easier. NatWest is 39% owned by the taxpayer. So there is taxpayer funding involved in this. That's why the politicians have gotten involved. We own 39% of NatWest. Does it? Just right. Thank you. Right then, we're. I didn't know that until I scrolled through this article. It's quite hard to find.
Then no, they have no business shutting down anybody.
Right.
In the same way that. Okay, so like J.P. Morgan and Chase had Epstein as a client.
Yeah.
And they got fined because of basically allowing him to do what he did, but like that's not the job of the bank to investigate that problem. I actually think it's almost like a bit fucky to blame a bank for allowing somebody to hold an account there. Like it is a precedent that I think is more damaging than it is helpful.
Agreed.
And allowing something like that to exist or perpetuate, I only can imagine it will go poorly. Allowing somebody to, on a whim, oh hey, I don't like your politics, and yeah, we're publicly funded, or I don't like the things that you do with your money, and yeah, we're publicly funded, but we're going to take away, your access to our services. No, nah. I don't like that because, Canada did it when the freedom protests was happening, and that was some bullshit. And anybody who does it after the fact, is basically perpetuating the same problem. You do not have the right to stop people from spending their money. The IRS disagrees, but I don't.
I think now we have the context. It took me a while to find it. We are in accord here. Because I don't... If the taxpayer is involved, you are absolutely right. You are removed from the political field. You have no right
Yes.
to determine who uses your service.
Yes, you may not pick and choose which person, a member of the public, that you choose to do business with. No, you are taxpayer funded, which means they pay you.
Yeah. So Farage has actually been
You earn the
posting
service.
pictures on social media. He's been posting them all over social media of emails he sent to Favel, which stated he had planned to show up at the bank Coots with a security van to collect an amount in cash, the amount that they took shut his account down. So the redacted amount is what he intended to take, basically. And it is literally, the email says, as explained to her, I have been rejected by several banks. On current course, I will be at your branch on redacted, the final date, with a security van to collect redacted approximate in cash. I look forward to seeing you there. The tweet reads, these are the two emails I sent to CEO Peter Favel before going public on this story that he completely ignored. An extraordinary kind of arrogance from a man asleep at the wheel. And he gets a fair amount of traction on his tweets, by the way. And I if they've shut his account down and he's obviously out of pocket to the tune of as much as believed, they owe him his money.
Oh, absolutely.
There's even a bloody timeline here. This has been going on since the 29th of June. And it has ended with the top dogs, stepping down with immediate effect and only interim bosses stepping up. Like, the BBC also are in trouble here because they should not have published those reports because they weren't allowed to.
It sounds illegal.
Yeah, it feels a bit sus. And I think that Farage, if he wanted to, he could punish them as well. But to be honest, an independent watchdog will probably do it for us. It's not a good look for him, and I fully support a business's right to refuse service, but I don't believe in this instance they were in the right, and Farage is well within his right, along with any politician now who's standing up for. They're not, by the way, they're not necessarily standing up for Farage, even though they're mostly conservative doing this. No, they're standing up for the principle because it's taxpayer owned. Or parts of their company is.
Well, imagine they have the potential to see this happen to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has happened to other people. People losing their accounts because of political beliefs. We've heard about that. Didn't Tommy Robinson lose a bunch of bank accounts because they believed he was a massive racist?
He did.
Sorry, Stephen Yaxley Lennon is his real name. We have to know that as well, everyone, because True Demon and all that.
Yes. Well, that's also the same thing with Dankula.
Yes, they know so much about him because his name is as everyone knows, Supreme Court Justice Marcus Meekin.
I always forget that it's Meekin.
Well, it is also
Irish
giant penis.
Yes. Well, I have had the unfortunate circumstance to see his balls.
I have too. I've seen them with the anime, like rosy red cheeks and the lines. That was funny. That was
and all to get against the Nicki Minaj stands. Good times. It has good times.
I miss the fun times on Twitter before it became X.
Do you? Does X hurt you?
It does a little because this week at Twitter now is Twax.
Oh.
I just.
What about Twat X?
I mean, it could be that this week at Twitter. X.
X Twitter. X Twat.
Oh no, don't, because I'm going to get sent some porn sites, aren't I? I don't want to get X. If I put X,
I said it out loud, and I was like, wait, no.
If I put X Twat on there, I'm just going to get lots of dirty cooch on my Google search, aren't I?
Oh yes, please don't.
I don't Google search that, people. Consider it professional advice from perpetually online people. Do not Google that. Thank you.
Actually, I will tell you.
Oh, God, he has, hasn't he? You haven't, yeah.
With Safe Search Moderate on, the first thing that came up was actually a YouTube. Apparently, there's a guy named Xtwat, and it's the first video that came up was Xtwat raps about Gears of War.
I'm glad you got Safe Search on. I don't, and I will not do it.
Off.
Oh, no.
I don't even know what that is, so...
The next
It
blue
says,
waffle.
oh, it's Philippines? It's the Philippines.
I don't need the Philippines in my life. Is it a tea
Yeah.
wax, perhaps? It's a wax in the shape of a tea, perhaps?
No. Yeah, apparently, at least on Duck Duck, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, well, let's... It's going to be dangerous. TWAX. What is twaxing? Combination of cannabis flower and cannabis extract in a joint.
All right, cool. You're safe.
That's from hempelf.com. Thank you, hempelf. Oh dear.
Indeed.
I don't give a shit. Just don't give me smut. All right. None of that smut in my life. Okay. Well, we've hit the 1 hour mark. Is there anything you would like to talk about before we finish?
No, I'm all set.
All right. Well, are we here next week, Trubs?
I think so. Yes.
All right. This will be up on Rumble and on Spotify tomorrow with additional sexified audio. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. And the support means a lot. We got a lot of views on the last stream on Rumble, which surprised me because we don't have as many followers. I'm very sad by this. But hopefully this will lead to further traction with the sexy audio. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for liking. And we'll see you next week.